Nearly after 14 years, the best monster breeding series has came back to life, and of course I was there to welcome it. I've been playing Monster Rancher series since God knows when. Discovered it's creating monsters from different CD system when I was just a kid, and I was totally in love with it. After its last Nintendo DS title, the series went into total silence until Koei Tecmo decided to revive it with first two titles remastered, first for Nintendo Switch and then Steam. And just recently, they have released a new game, a new Monster Rancher experience, but this time in collaboration with Japan's famous TV series Ultraman. To be honest, I've never watched Ultraman, knew nothing about these gigantic monsters called Kaiju, but hey, this is a Monster Rancher, right? I don't care if they make a game with Monster Hunter monsters next time, I gladly accept any Monster Rancher game. After 35 hours of trials and errors, wins and losses, I finished every tournament, achieved every trophy it offered. And it was one hell of a fun ride. Not just Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, but this series overall requires your love and attention if you are looking for training the monsters rather than slaying them, feeding and joining in tournaments to be the best breeder. First of all, there are 29 different Kaiju types, and nearly all of these Kaijus also offer different sub-breeds of them, meaning that nearly 300 different Kaijus can be summoned, trained and playable. Each and every Kaiju has different attributes, different movement speeds, attack techniques, and sometimes even require different training methods. We as the player never really actually play as Kaijus, but act as a coach, so to say, giving orders, feeding them, deciding on their next training to increase their attributes. Our dear Kaiju obeys, either fulfilling its decided training or sometimes even overdo an exercise, achieving better results, and then asks for your praise. They are basically enormous baby monsters that requires your attention and love in most of times. You can be a strict parent and do your own Spartan training, or be more merciful, accepting parent while spoiling your monster a bit. It totally depends on how you want to train your Kaiju, how patient you are, and how much money you have overall. Each and every Kaiju feel as a different journey throughout their lifespan, as each one of them has strong and weak points that will affect you somehow. Throughout my 35 hours, I think I raised around 8 to 9 different Kaijus. Sometimes their purpose was to continue the story, but sometimes they brought sweet hot cash for their daddy. Wow, that sounded cruel, but hey, you'll understand what I mean once you get into the world of Monster Rancher, right? Every Kaiju can be summoned through Shrine with a new music album list system implemented with Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX. Before that, from PlayStation 1, each and every readable CD used to create a specific monster, meaning that your Final Fantasy VII CDs can grant you a kick-ass monster and your Tekken 3 CD another. This was such a discovery back in the day and so innovative, since it's a bit bothersome for Nintendo Switch or for the new consoles. There is a music album system implemented, meaning that you choose an album of an artist and specific Kaiju comes to life. As for my first Kaiju, I chose Sheer Heart Attack of the Queen, and bam! My first Kaiju was a gigantic crab that is known as Reikubas, suitable for more tanky builds. This new lovely baby crab, named as Freddy, and as my first monster, I reached around rank B, and its lifespan ended around 3 years and 8 months. These monsters used to die in previous titles, like they literally die. You organize a funeral and then you bury the poor animal in your barn. As this was such a trauma for kids, which we all experienced back in the day, this time they just retire. They literally say, "That's enough, my man, I have a life to live," and leave you as a retirement. So your choices will be either keep your monster healthy as possible to keep its lifespan high as possible, or take it out from your barn to keep it safely for a fusion later on. Although Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher looks childish or easy to play, it is not, and you will realize how the game should be played once you pass the C rank official tournament. That's where the real challenge starts, that's where the min-max becomes important. And here I would like to mention about legendcup.com and thank to their huge efforts for the Monster Rancher community and also for Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. Through trials and errors and discoveries, they have found how to unlock new Kaijus, how to raise them properly, and other necessary information that would help you on your journey. Among 29 different Kaijus, around 14 of them requires effort to be unlocked, and this alone becomes another goal to achieve. Some of the monsters requires a specific rank or completion of some tournaments, and some of them requires even more, like going out to adventures, collecting different key items to unlock a new tournament, or sometimes even resting on a story night to discover a flying monster. And since every training, every order takes around 1 week of a time within the game, and years pass with each different Kaiju, I am sure nobody would like to wait another year to unlock a monster, right? Even if you are playing Ultra Kaiju or other Monster Rancher titles, be sure to check out legendcup.com for locked monsters, new training methods or other information. And since we are talking about tips and tricks, let me tell you about one of the key methods of mastering Monster Rancher. Each Kaiju has attributes of life, strength, intelligence, aim, speed and defense, and every one of them are quite important to be a champion. Life is the maximum health, strength is the physical damage, intelligence is range or that monster's special move like fire breathing, beam shooting, etc. kind of attack, aim is your accuracy, speed is your capability of dodging enemy attacks, and defense is your durability. Leveling up each and every one of them and turning your Kaiju into a jack of all trades probably won't work after B rank tournaments, since each and every rival will excel at something different and your Kaiju won't be able to suffice. Here I would recommend you to find out what your Kaiju is capable of. If you are training a Kaiju like Freddy, focus on strength, aim, defense and life and ignore intelligence and speed. Your Kaiju won't be able to avoid enemy attacks, but as long as you hit hard and bear the enemy attacks, you will win. Other main method, and which I love to do since Monster Rancher 1, is the glass cannon method, going only for intelligence, aim and speed. Speed is still such an OP attribute since it depends on your rival's aim level also, and you might see your rival's hit rate around 10% or even lower if you just focus on speed. You can also try to change a tanky monster into a glass cannon one, however it would probably earn less amount of speed attribute points and wouldn't turn out to be as you expected. Each Kaiju and their subbreed differ as their techniques, their attributes can be different, leading to experiencing different journeys by each Kaiju. There are lots of tournaments within Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher and you can participate in them to earn money, make your Kaiju famous to go out for adventures, or just to test your abilities, but need to say that each tournament takes away 3 weeks of your Kaiju's lifespan, and with every errantry training that can teach your monster a new technique, you will lose another extra 1 week. Besides that, a non-displayed parameter called stress lowers your monster's lifespan heavily, so be sure to take a couple of rests or feeding your monsters an Astromint to make it calmer might help you to reach beyond B rank within your journey. There are lots of tips and tricks to excel at Monster Rancher series, and same can be said for Ultra Kaiju also. If you feel patient and would like to experimenting on your raising methods, I would recommend you to do so, and look only for new Kaiju unlock requirements as I mentioned before. Of course, there are some Kaijus that are a bit overpowered and can help you to finish the game quite quickly, but Monster Rancher series is not about the goal itself, but more about the journey and the road that take you with your monster. That's probably why it is one of my favorite game series and always hooks me to itself. Besides Monster Rancher, Digimon World series also have the similar taste and vibe to it, but I never feel this from Pokemon series unfortunately. Pokemon feels more like a RPG than a monster breeding simulation kinda game. I think I would also make videos about first 2 Monster Rancher titles, talking about their gameplay system, how innovative they were in that time in the future, but for now, Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher is what I want you guys to try out for the time being. Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher is a must-play for all Monster Rancher fans. Even if you have no clue about Ultraman Kaijus, you will enjoy it and remember your childhood just like I did. Although I found the first 3 ranks of Ultra Kaiju quite easy and unchallenging, B and above tournaments feel extra challenging and could remind you about the previous Monster Rancher titles. As I said, it took around 35 hours for me to complete the game and unlock each and every Kaiju, and just by the end game, after the credits, I unlocked the mascot, the Lord of Mischief, Suezo himself, and might try to train him in the future. Ultra Kaiju can only be played on Nintendo Switch right now, but I'm sure just like Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, it will show up on Steam also. I hope you will give a chance to Monster Rancher universe, and I'm sure you will have memorable moments.